with an update on Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for February 27th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Since becoming AEW Women's Champion at Double or Nothing last year, Britt Baker has been on a roll in the promotion. On Talk Is Jericho, she talked about her experience in WWE, saying she's thankful for not getting into NXT. I had a tryout. I was fresh out of training. They gave me a tryout solely based on my looks. Oh, this is a cute girl. I got put in a group after the training was all done, bumps and rolls. We can't even walk by the end of the tryout. It was me, Lacey Evans, and Bianca were the females in Orlando. It was all these extras. They're like testing our range of motion. We were like, holy shit, we are getting signed. So we are celebrating, and I still talk to those girls all the time. But Kane came in at the time. He was like the gatekeeper for independent wrestlers to get into NXT. He pulled me aside at the end of the tryout. He was like, you know, you've just started dental school. As a father, I have a hard time pulling you from a professional degree. My heart dropped, but I owe him the world because I would have left dental school in a heartbeat to go to WWE because I was young, dumb, and I was like, I'm going to be NXT Women's Champion. Like, that would have got me far, right? He stayed in touch with me every few months after that. Like, let me know when you finish dental school. Send me your matches. He always kept up with me. Now, Baker will be defending her AEW Women's title against Thunder Rosa at Revolution on the 6th. With Cody and Brandi Rhodes surprisingly leaving AEW earlier in the month, Danielson told Metro that he feared for the worst regarding this departure. You have to understand my relationship to this story breaking is a little bit different because I'm not on the internet very much. So I woke up, had no idea. I texted Tony Khan something about some idea I had or whatever, completely oblivious. I'm driving to the airport and my wife texts me and I usually don't check it, but it comes up on the thing and it said, "Did you hear about Cody and Brandi?" And the first thing that went through my head is, oh no, did something happen? Did they get in a crash? Did something bad happen to their daughter? I'm thinking worst case scenario. Given the reports of Stone Cold Steve Austin returning for a WrestleMania program with Kevin Owens, Kurt Angle took to his podcast to express his excitement over this potential comeback. Yes, you know what? I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised. I mean, he's been out for so long. As long as he is healthy and he's able to do it, I'm looking forward to it. I think we will see Steve Austin's return. This is going to be incredible. It makes perfect sense for Owens to be his opponent. Stunner versus stunner, you know? Kevin Owens took Stone Cold's finish, and I think that's probably the best matchup for Stone Cold at this particular time. And Kevin Owens, he could go in that ring. He is very athletic, especially for his size. Heading into the biggest show of the year, Steve Austin revealed on Instagram that he will be in town for WrestleMania weekend. The Undertaker is set to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, and many are thinking he should be the only one in this year's class. Talking about this suggestion on his podcast, Booker T said, "I've heard. I think Bully Ray something like that. The Taker should be the only one. I think somebody else said something. I think it was Ken Anderson. That Undertaker should be the only one inducted into the Hall of Fame. My thing is, that's going to be a short night or a long night. One of the two. Because the only way I see that happening is a bunch of guys coming up there to tell a bunch of stories to put themselves over. Where they were when this happened, when me and The Undertaker did this. I don't want to hear those types of stories personally. Can The Undertaker come up and entertain for 2 hours, get the TV out of it, and whatnot? I don't think The Undertaker would actually want to do something like that. Come up and tell stories all night. The one thing about the Hall of Fame ceremony has always been, when these guys finally get that moment, damn it, they go up there and they don't want to leave. They want to stay up there all night. They want to talk about stories, and I'm like, good God, bro, we are ready to go to sleep here. I am sure The Undertaker is going to want to come out, say what he has to say, and he's going to want to get the hell out of there. I think we are going to need more people to actually have a show, other than just The Undertaker. Going back to Bryan Danielson, he revealed on the Masked Man show that Vince McMahon taught him an important lesson during his time in WWE, saying, "I try to be very conscious of things because of my respect for Vince and things he would want me to say and things he wouldn't want me to say. One of the things he first taught me, and this was before I was close with him, was the ability to use silence and to not say something if you don't have an answer. If somebody asks you a question, well, maybe we could do, and you put out maybe not even your best answer. You could say, let me think about it. Sometimes when you talk to him and ask him a question, he'll sit there and not say a word for 30 seconds or longer, which feels like the longest time in history. But he's not going to give you a bad answer. He's not going to give you an off-the-cuff answer. The ability to sit and wait and be patient enough, and even if you don't come up with it, you get, okay, let me think about it. That was one of the earliest lessons I learned from him, but there is no trepidation in the back of my mind that he wouldn't want me to say that. Despite having a short run in WWE, Zach Gowen had many memorable moments as a fighting underdog. On his podcast, former WWE star Rene Dupree recalled the feud between Gowen and Brock Lesnar, where he noted that Vince McMahon had Gowen take a chair shot from Lesnar as a means of punishment. You believe nothing what you hear. But what I had heard is that he was caught smoking cigarettes backstage, right? If you've ever been backstage at WWF show, Vince has no smoking signs all over the building. The only two people that were allowed to smoke were Blackjack Lanza and Pat Patterson. Anybody else? No. So anyway, remember that segment where Brock bashed his brains in with that steel chair in front of his own mother? That was punishment right there. While speaking to people about his upcoming Peacemaker movie, John Cena contrasted these stunts performed in movies to those in WWE, saying, "No, it's completely different. Movie coordinated stunt performers are massive amounts of repetition, not only through practice, but through performance as well. Whereas you can practice your craft in WWE, but once you're out there live, it happens once, and there really is no wrong. It just is. There's also no enormous, energetic, unbelievable crowd cheering you on as you do all this stuff, and it has to be done from many angles and many perspectives. It's nuts. I remember when I started to do movies in 2004-05 and really got frustrated with the process because as a young man, I really wanted to be in that ring, as there really isn't much of anything that compares to the sensation of being in that ring performing in front of a live audience for me. It's not the same. I've found a much greater appreciation for it now. Maybe that's because I'm working with great people and I'm a part of fantastic stories. I'm finding my stride as a performer, but it's very different, and if given the choice, I think 10 times out of 10, I would rather be in a ring performing action than on the screen performing action. With reports of Vince McMahon getting ready to return to in-ring action at Mania, Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Newsletter recently took to Twitter to confirm the news surrounding this bout, writing that as of last night, Vince McMahon vs. Pat McAfee was listed as a match on the internal schedule for WrestleMania. Fans would also react to the news of Vince McMahon wrestling Pat McAfee. Dave Meltzer reports that Vince McMahon vs. Pat McAfee is listed as an actual match on the WWE WrestleMania 38 lineup. There's no way. They better not let 76 years old Vince McMahon take one bump in that ring. He'll disintegrate to dust on impact. Vince McMahon is really about to have a match at 76. The king of wrestling about to put on a better match than Keith Lee, have a better physique than Adam Cole, and be better than Kenny Omega. I can't wait. Vince McMahon, who is 76 years old, last wrestled a match on the October 8th, 2012 edition of Monday Night Raw. He will be wrestling his first match in 10 years at WrestleMania 38 against 34-year-old Pat McAfee. 2022 is a wild year for pro wrestling. Vince McMahon doing McAfee's YouTube show next week is big. I can't imagine he'd appear unless it was kicking off a storyline with Pat heading into Dallas. But is 76-year-old Vince actually wrestling at WrestleMania? They do have 200,000 tickets to shift. Recently, Matt Cardona was able to win the NWA World's Heavyweight title from Trevor Murdoch, as he'll be defending that title against a former champion in Nick Aldis. On My Mom's Basement, Cardona noted that AEW and WWE are not on his radar at the moment. My goal right now is not, oh man, what do I gotta do to get back in WWE or get in AEW? No, not at all. I love what I'm doing right now. 10 years ago with my YouTube show, I think I proved, no, I know that I proved that through hard work, the internet, social social media, whatever, that you can change your position in a major company. I proved that 10 years ago and I opened up. Before there was a forbidden door, I opened up that door for so many people to create their own opportunities. Now, 10 years later, I want to prove that you don't necessarily need AEW or WWE to be a successful pro wrestler. If one of those companies called me, of course I would listen. Of course I would have a conversation, but that is not my goal to go back. Yesterday, when a fan said that Cardona had made an impact after leaving WWE and made the game plan of Cody Rhodes work for him, Matt replied, writing, "What Cody Rhodes did for his career in pro wrestling is incredible, undesirable to undeniable. As a friend, I'm extremely proud of what he's accomplished and what he'll continue to do. I learned from him, then did it my way. I hope the next does the same," and so on and so forth. After meeting musician and actor Bret Michaels, Hulk Hogan urged him to FaceTime his son Nick. Here's the clip.
Oh, good to see you.
What's up, my brother?
I am doing great.
How are you doing, man?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Good to see you. You look awesome.
Trying to keep up you young guys.
No. We're trying to keep up with you.
This is my girl Sky.
Hi, really nice
Okay,
to meet
you have to do me one favor.
Yes.
If you don't mind. A huge fan of my son, Nick.
Oh God, he's a fan too.
Bro, he said when you meet Bret, is there any way you can FaceTime?
Let's do it. Let's do it
We're
right
on.
now.
We're on. My son Nick is gonna go crazy.
We'll take care of Nick right
Yeah,
now. How are you doing, buddy? Good to
That's
see
scary.
you. Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you. My pleasure.
He's the president of my charity,
Absolutely. This is amazing.
and then he's been helping me for 10 years.
Incredible, man, doing this. I wrote this for you. So
Oh, I saw that, brother. Thank you.
You're a real beyond. You're a real rock star, man. For real.
I had my day, man.
No.
Yo, Nick, look who I got here.
Nick! It's Brett!
What the hell's he got?
He looks like he's got a party going on.
Hey,
I am so ready, man. I am so ready. Are you ready? Look at this. Look at all this craziness.
Hey, Brett, they were just watching Rock of Love last night.
Were you watching? I'm
With no
sorry you had to
security, you
see
breaking
that.
up all the fights and shit.
I gotta tell you, I'm telling you, we're doing 3 more. That those were.
Hey,
Following a feud with Jackson Riker, Elias would last be seen in a vignette in August burning his guitar. With the thought he could be going through a character change, Ringside News reported that Elias was spotted backstage with a clean shave and a haircut in December. Now, Steve Carrier has noted that WrestleMania is coming up and plenty of fans are talking about plans and returns. It might be best not to get your hopes up about Elias. We're told that he's in creative purgatory, and a tenured member of the team said, "I don't remember the last time his name came up." When it comes to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis, WWE superstar and Knoxville County Mayor Glenn Jacobs decided to give his perspective. If you're on the left and are shocked by Putin's aggression, wake up, sunshine. Historically, in the real world, might makes right. Weakness, which is really what the left is all about, is not a virtue. It's a fatal character flaw. And no, the US should still not get involved. I highly doubt Putin cares a whit about toxic masculinity, the cancel culture Munala, or any of the other things the radical left stands for. AEW champion Adam Page would respond with 2 links where donations can be made to Ukrainians in need, as well as a link to a video of Kane taking chair shots to the head. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.